Whew, it's cold. My hands are cold. I don't know. I'm deeply confused. With changing climate and the changing weather. Uh, we're in a record right now of longest period without any snow. So this is Colorado, and typically Colorado means snow in winter, but not right now. So it's totally dry, like mid. I don't know. It's not cold, but it's just a little chilly. But it looks like it's gonna be warm, but it isn't. I don't know, man. I'm cold. I'm cold. I would love to sit here and be cool in a t-shirt, but I think I have to put on a top. I'm freezing. Hang on. I'll just put on this jacket. Ooh, my garage jacket. My garage jacket. Nice. Love this old thing. Old military surplus field jacket. I always have such a soft spot for army surplus, military surplus. Good, I love it. The last great one I went to, last great, truly great, like actual stores stocked with. When I was a kid, surplus stores were amazing because there was still so much material left over from World War II and also Korea that you go to a real surplus store and it would be like a warehouse just filled with these giant cardboard like 55-gallon drum things for storage, completely filled with all this stuff, untouched material from World War II. And I remember an entire aisle of like electronic equipment that had been taken out of like airplanes, flying planes and stuff, instrument panels, boxes and boxes of crap. And they used to get all kinds of like foreign military stuff. I think this is West German or something. I don't know. But there was one place I found. I'm sorry, one thing I found in this place that was even the best. A set of post-war Bundeswehr low boots. They were made for the West Germans, and they were the some people have said they're the greatest piece of military footwear ever made in that style. So it's like a low boot, like just like a worker man boot, right? But it's like the leather is made out was some kind of high grade leather that was oak tan and tanned for 3 years with hand cobbled soles with wooden pegs to hold them together and rubber coatings. They're amazing. You can't, even then, this is 20 years ago, you couldn't find them. And I found a pair in my size in mint condition. And I've worn them. They're really nice. Kind of squeaky though. I haven't worn them recently. Let's see. Do I have my, I have my papers. Oh, what else was I going to say? Sabrina is working on, we have so much stuff here. We have so much stuff. So Sabrina is slowly working on listing watches for sale on the website. And so she's chugging along on it. We have a lot of watches. And so, I mean, there's going to be things up there like 7848 7010 moon phase on the original bracelet. A Seiko C354, right? One of these early calculator watches with the bead blasted finish. This one was a gift, apparently, to Joe Buckles' Happy 16th. It's all cleaned up. I have all new seals in it and everything else like that. Only thing is Mr. Buckles took off some of the end links of this strap, so it fits, like it'll fit me barely. 7 1/4. But it's a nice watch. Everything works. I've got fully serviced 7838. It's a nice piece. It's a cool watch. All original. Have a Giugiaro 7838 with the original bracelet. But I've got a ton of other, I have so many watches. So we're going to be, I'm going to be moving a bunch of stuff out. We're also going to start doing, we have another section on the website. We're going to start doing basically like virtual garage sale because we have so much stuff. So like this is a Guild ST200 T-Bird, not Thunderbird, T-Bird. I have too many guitars. This one doesn't ever get played and it's almost brand new. So it's a cool guitar. It needs, whoever cut the nut, I think they missed this here, or this string is the wrong gauge because it doesn't sit down in the nut. I need to look at that. I have a whole new set of strings I was going to put on it. But like things like this, we're going to put on there. So if you want to buy a guitar, it's a decent guitar. We talk about reissues all the time, right? Whether or not they're good or bad, or if they're they're faithful versus, Seiko doing interpretations or homages, or a reissue, a true reissue. This is a true reissue. Guild made these originally in the 60s. This is an original Guild design. And this is a 2019 though. Guild decided to get on sort of the vintage fever bandwagon, and they reissue these one piece thing, and they matched the original. I've never seen an original, but from what I've told and been read, they matched the original perfectly, up to and including the unusual tremolo system they've got here. I've got 2 whammy bars with it and everything else like that. I don't know that it has a scratch on it. I've never really played it. I mostly play my Strat, but it's cool looking. Anyway, so things like that are going to be on the website. Asian antiques. I just have so much crap. All these military binoculars, most of them don't actually belong to me. They were my dad's, and they were kind of beaten up, or they're duplicates. I have a lot of binoculars. Gonna put binoculars on there. Other stuff as I look around. So keep checking the website. I'm getting real close to the end of the line. I'm still not taking jobs yet. I'm still not sure what it's going to look like when I do start taking jobs, or how that's going to work. My rates are definitely going to go up. They have to. I haven't adjusted my rates up in a good number of years, and that adjustment up was the only time I ever pushed my prices up in the time that I've been like really doing this. But I got to do it again. So I don't know if I'm going to artificially limit the number of customers I have by having a limited number of slots for jobs that can come in. I went to lunch with 2 friends of mine that I've known since we were kindergarten or younger, and they were both looking at me. They were like, "You should just double or triple your prices." And I'm not going to double or triple my prices. That's just. They said, "Well, you owe it to your family," and I'm like, I guess, but I mean, that just, I don't know. I need to figure out. I need to do what I did the first time, which is to figure out a current hourly wage or yearly salary that would be appropriate for someone with my experience, and then charge accordingly. I'm going to take fewer jobs, which, that's another factor too, because I don't want to have to basically, I want to do quality more than quantity. So I want to have fewer jobs and spend more time on them. That's my hope, but it's coming soon. I just haven't figured out what it is. The thought being on the prices, by the way, that if you put your prices up high enough, people will self-limit. So, and frankly, it's one of the reasons I raised my prices in the past, was to basically whittle down the number of people who were going to send in their watches. So I'm considering it. I just want it to be fair. That's it. So with that, today's wrist check brought to you by a model that I'm kind of blown away that I'm all of a sudden blown away by it. SKX 011J. Now, normally, I've owned a good few of these, and normally they've always just sort of, I don't know, left me cold. Something about the color combination doesn't work, and I like orange watches. It was always like kind of the weird, the sort of the wrong orange. Well, about an example, I realized I was going for looking at inventory that I had two of them. So I had this one. I had this one. And I was looking at them, and I was like, because I'd found this one, and I was kind of, I don't know, enthusing over it. Pardon me. So I had to stop for a second. We had a special guest. Sabrina is here, and she's wearing, for her, an extraordinarily unusual watch. 1977 Seiko Pan Am World Time. These were dual time zone watches. I think that's, I'm not quite sure what that feature is. Come on. Oh, is it the crown?
I'm not a very good QVC model. Sorry.
Huh. Anyway, it shows two different time zones, and it was...
And then there's the... Ooh, it's on a Casio.
It is on a Casio bracelet. Hey, but it looks okay. They're really cool watches. And this one is fully functional. I had to build this as like a hybrid thing. I got these in trade. I got a gold one and a silver one. The gold one, this one, the case back was just destroyed. The gold one had a beautiful case back. Basically, I had to make one watch out of two, and this is the result.
There it is.
Cool. Okay, back to our standardly televised program. So anyway, I had this one, and I was looking at it. I'm like, God, it's just beautiful. Like, because it has the same sort of oranger red, like the 7548 7000Cs, to my mind. It's a nice red. I don't know, there were just things that used to bug me about the other one I had forgotten to be bugged by into this one. So I went and got the other one. I was like, well, what the heck is going on? What's the difference? So I'm like, there's a few things. The dial colors are radically different. This is sort of this weird sort of pinkish peachy color, which makes it a lot harder to read this text. It sort of makes it go away. Ditto for the black frames around the loom. But also, I swear on this one, not only does the dial color make the text easier to read, the printing of the black lines around the loom is thicker. It's better looking. And as I was looking at the two dials, I was looking at them real close, started looking at the handsets. Pardon me, I'm very sorry. So I was looking at this one, standard, and this has the regular SKX handset, just in gold, but it's the regular SKX handset with the sort of, not like, we look at a 6309, right? If you look at the hands, they're they're absolutely flat and just razor sharp edges. And that's what they're supposed to look like. SKX, they kind of went, instead of stamping the hands cleanly out of metal, they went to plating after cutting them out, I think. So the tops are kind of rounded and blobby, and I just think it looks trashy. I don't like it. But then I was looking at this, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. They're flat. I mean, they're angled, but they're flat. And I was looking really close, and I'm like, oh, those are 7002 hands. And you can tell, I mean, in the sense of how they're made. Unlike the 6309 classic hands, where the frames slope inwards, or like a 7548, where the hands are absolutely flat, knife edge, 7002s had flat surfaces that angled downwards to the outside. I don't know if you can see with that reflection. So these are 7002 hands, which I'm like, that's really kind of very, very interesting to me. And so I kind of don't know how that happened. So I was looking at and the last thing that I think really makes it, hang on. the last thing that really makes it is the color of the insert. You can't see it quite as well as I do here. Well, that's not bad, actually. Look at the gold. It has this like copper sheen, this copper brown tint. Again, you're not seeing it. It's like the color of like a, I don't know, hard to say. Maybe an orange infused caramel or something. It's just, it's really, it's pretty and vibrant. Also, the black of the insert is just black, really just fallen into a whole black, which is nice. The pip is perfectly centered. So is the marker at 12. It's all lined up, and it's just, there's something with the copper. It just looks glorious. It's like a good, rich, lively orange, you know, good, rich, coppery gold. Compared to this, oh, whoops. I don't know. It's gold, but it's more sort of yellowy gold, and then against the sort of the pinky, orangey tangerine color here, I don't know. It just doesn't work at all. And also, the insert is actually bent right here, which is wild. Now, here's the question I have. No one has been able to tell me this. SKXs, they were introduced in 1996. The earliest one I heard of was February 96. This watch is December 95, maybe. This watch is is 2004. But here's the stupid thing. I'm not actually sure which case back goes to which watch, because I took them off and then I got confused, and I don't know which is which. Oh, and that's the last thing. This has an A movement. This has a C. So A movement, and it's got these, it just looks different than any other SKX 011J I've ever seen. And if I have the right case back on the right watch, I want to know if this is like a super early piece. I mean, it's an A, but if that's 2005, they were in theory still putting the A's in, but this is from 2004 and it has a C in it. I don't know. I'm hoping and wishing that this is somehow an extremely early example of this one, because it's got nice finishing. The case is really well done, and the lugs are a different shape. This case is just beautifully shaped. And the machining is really nicely done. This is almost 0 hours watch. I'm not that, but it didn't see a lot of wear. Whereas you see the machining here is nowhere near as precise or as clean, and the lugs are actually thinner, like a lot thinner. I mean, it might be an optical illusion, but man, I see it. Also note that the angles and the compound curves of the surface on this one are kind of odd. Whereas here, it's got that nice 6309 style clean circular printing. Nice clean delineations. I don't know. Because I'm biased, I would like to think that I'm seeing all these nice features because this is a nice early one. If anybody knows more about the production dates, especially the starting dates, please let me know. But anyway, on the flat vent strap, man, I've been wearing this thing for days and days and days. And it keeps amazing time within a few seconds a day. And the loom is perfectly fine. It's absolutely readable. And I never expected to be in love with an SKX 011J. Anyway, onward and upward. So again, if anybody has any information on the SKX11Js, and the Ks too, but the J's specifically, when did they come out? What month? Did things change? Are the earlier ones different than the later ones? What about the handset question? If anybody knows, please let me know. Okay, Did I mention that it's Friday? It's Friday. Andrew W. Yes. Okay. This is Andrew Warner. He is a fellow who lives in the same tiny village I lived in when we were still in England. We came here when I was 13, something like that. But anyway, so he lives in the same tiny village that I do, or did rather. He even showed me our old house. It used to be called, it's called the Hollies now because it had a huge holly hedge around it, old Victorian house. In my day, it was called Glendon, but it's still there. He took pictures of it. We talk every now and then. He and his family know some of the people that we knew or knew, he's heard of them or something. But in any case, I had talked about going out to down to, down to the ocean looking for fossils. Andrew W. Walton on the Naze in Essex is a good place to find fossils. We used to go there as kids and look for them. The cliffs, which are very crumbly, were full of them. I wasn't wrong. I've been beating myself up for... You keep going, man. You run. Good for you. Keep pushing. Good job. I was all these years, decades, I've been beating myself up for thinking that there weren't any there. But then, because I recommended to one of my dad's students, I think, and we rode the trade out there, and I was just always kind of embarrassed about it, but it was all a mismemory. My wife, the Madam Sabrina, reminded me that I found this there. I've had it my whole life, and I found it out there. I never knew what this was. That's the original colors. That's what it looked like. When I found this again, or when she found it and handed it to me, I looked at it with new eyes because of all the rocks I've been looking at, and I realized that I'd never really cleaned it. Those cliffs were sort of like muddy, but this sort of chalk thing came out of it, and it was covered in and packed with mud, but I kind of cleaned it. But over the years, I never really got into it, and then it was hidden away for forever. She found it, and I realized that one end was completely covered with mud, this one. So I was like, what the heck is that stuff? And I started cleaning it out, and I realized this too is an ammonite. It's like it was a sign. But yeah, so I cleaned out that thing, and it's amazing that something that's like 100 million years old or older or younger or something can still look unpleasantly organic. There's a hole in here because it's just like a snail shell. And if you go right through the middle, lengthwise through the shell, you'd see sort of cutaway. And that's what you can't really see it, but if you look in there with good light, it's kind of gross, because it's like the inside of a crab's claw, that kind of weird stuff, but it's in there. But yeah, doing this, cleaning this, I was like, oh, I cannot believe it. It's another ammonite. Everything is sort of coming from, where is it? Well, there's a couple circles on this one, but basically these are inside casts of the chambers, but it's got all kinds of other stuff on it. I cleaned it up a bit. I'm going to split this in half and look at it. Speaking of ammonites, I have come to the conclusion that either I'm insane, or that we're living in a simulation, or that all of these rocks, these metamorphic rocks, of these different things that we're looking at, Sabrina's getting interested in minerals, and so we were poking along at that. She started doing a lot of looking online. I was looking at pictures of these kinds of fossils, this metamorphic rock, like pictures from a sales site in Sweden. And I'm looking at the guy's picture of this nice patterned rock. Doesn't say anything about fossils. It's absolutely an ammonite. You can see it. It's like this big. You can see the dark patterns of the thing. Guy didn't even mention it. I don't. It's just we have to live in a simulation. Nothing else makes sense. Okay, so there you are. Still have my piece of Essex. Anyway, we used to go there as kids and look for them. The cliffs, which are very crumbly, were full of them. Yeah, I can remember I could dig my hand in. I remember I would dig my hand in, and sometimes you could get pieces would come out, not like a chunk like of mud, but like these curved things. Sometimes they would plane on something. I wish I could see them now. The cliffs were very eroded now, and the cliffs are very eroded now. There are a couple of World War II pillboxes which were on the cliff's edge at the time of World War II. These are concrete fortifications. At the time of World War II, they are now 150 to 200 yards out to sea, 150, 180 meters out there. Dude, Andrew, in my day, when I went out there, I remember them. They were just at the base of the cliff. I have pictures of myself as a young dude. My mom took the pictures, and I'm standing on one of those pillboxes. It's catawampus, but it's 30, maybe not even that, 20 meters from the cliff face. But yeah, I have a picture. I have several pictures of me. I really wanted to get in, but it was mostly flooded at that time, and the little blast door things were all rusted shut. But yep, I've seen them. Hey, look, people, guess what? Now it's time to talk about watches. So, if you've been waiting for me to shut up about things that aren't watch related, this is your time. Okay, so this is. Oh. Okay, this next question is about the 6138 8020 Black Panda, which I just restored. Let me put that here so I know where it is. Good. So that one has this weird second language I've never seen before. Keith Rolla, looks like the second language for days is Dutch. Isn't that cool? So, Mandag, I don't speak Dutch. I apologize to all of our people that are there who speak this language, because I don't. Mandag, Dinsdag, Woensdag, Donderdag, Verjdag, Zaterdag, Zondag. If those sound familiar to other people who don't speak Dutch, it's because it's spitting distance from English, or rather, English is spitting distance from this. It's amazing. My dad always used to say that English was basically I'm not saying he's right, but this is what he used to say, that English was basically Low German. And the closest language to English that isn't English, I have been told, is Dutch. So there you go. Watch me draw. Mail call is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you for answering my/our questions. I thank you for submitting them. And of course, I have another one. Okay. I am building a 6119-6400 orange sports diver from scratch using original parts. Isn't that fun? I believe it not only the truly only way to make sure it's original, but it's also a way of learning something new, and it becomes a more substantial than just buying one. Okay, sorry. On with the question. 3 o'clock. See, and you'll notice a couple days early, I switched watches because I had to take a picture. And the other one I wanted to talk about. So, yeah, that's right. I put a watch in my pocket. Don't ask me why. This is what I'm going to go back to wearing in just a second. Just for a bit, I had this on. But you'll notice, the clock is on time. Okay. Yeah, it's great building watches. It's great building watches, literally making something out of, just disassociated parts that someone else messed with or took apart or something. I mean, the fact that I made my 7549 Auto Tuna out of unconnected parts to make it, that was really fun. Okay, the question. Would a Pogue-style aftermarket internal rotating bezel work in a 6119-6400? The UFO sports diver has many similarities to the Pogue, like case parts and stem assembly. The reason I'm asking is I would at least want to wear it until I find a proper internal rotating bezel. Well, let's talk about it. Okay, so we have here a near NOS 6119 6400 internal rotating ring. Only issue is that the pip is missing. It's probably inside the packet. And then we have here an original 6139 6000 blank rotating ring. This is a 6139 chronograph. So we know, darn it, we know that my fingers are slippy, but we know that that goes on there. Hang on a second. Okay, I just spent a lot of time digging through things to try to find an example of what it is that I'm looking for, but it's difficult to find an example. So the answer to your question is basically no. It's just no. There's just a bunch of different stuff going on. Yeah, because the dials are different sizes. That's one thing. That one's pretty tight on there. And that one doesn't flop around at all. So, I mean, they've got different internal diameters. The external diameter certainly looks, yeah, it's slightly smaller. I'd get a micrometer out, but honestly, I'm a little, well, I don't know that I want to go through the trouble of digging it out. Let me say that. Look at that. Isn't that neat? I have a few more, too. That's not the right rotating ring for that, but that doesn't look bad. Do it. Okay, well, I hope that horribly disjointed answer solved some mystery for you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun thinking about that stuff. All the sort of that, the hidden connections in terms of the design. I mean, most people mentally probably don't connect those, that design period and style with what Seiko is doing. But yeah. Alberto Lopez. Hi, Spencer. Thanks for posting entertaining videos for us watch enthusiasts. Well, I'm glad they're entertaining. The reason I read stuff like this is not these parts of because I don't like editing people's comments. I like to, if I'm going to do part of it, I want to do all of it. So I don't necessarily put this stuff in to give myself an ego boost. I think it doesn't hurt, but I just want to make sure that the person's like, hey, wait a minute, you didn't do everything I said. So anyway, I enjoy your videos every Saturday morning. I just edited that. I get to enjoy them every Saturday morning. So I guess I'm a liar. I guess I do edit on the fly. I have a question for you regarding the Seiko Business A range, 8346 8000. I came across a good example recently, and unfortunately I have not found too much info about them. All I know is they were produced in the late 60s, through the 60s, or like 63. A lot of the 63s I have are those. Exclusively for the Japanese market, JDM only. Also, its caliber is very shady in the sense that I could not find any kind of data about them, such as the lift angle, which I need for the time grapher. They have 27 joules and beat at 18,000 BPS. I hope you can share what you know about them in next Friday's Q&A. Thank you very much and keep it up. Regards from Spain, Alberto. Man, I'd love to talk about those. I never get a chance to talk about the 8300 range. So let's go talk. Okay. So for a quick review, here's another one. Day date. You'll notice it's the same size as this baby, but it has both. You saw these in like Seikomatic and Business A and different stuff. They were real like salaryman watches. Like middle managers, apparently, where you would have the really good Japanese-made watch until you got seniority, and that's when you would get your Omega or your Rolex or something. That's what I'm told. Anyway, they're just elegant. They're just elegant. Here is the movement. And you can see the biggest, the biggest real difference that you're going to see from another movement. Let's pull this one up. So, I mean, you got here, this is 6139 movement right there. And you can see, I mean, they are quite higher than each other stack wise. I mean, it's significant. And the way that they do this, in large part, is that they don't use Seiko's patented amazing magic lever system, which is where this turns, which turns this reduction wheel, and the reduction wheel is toothed on the outside, and turning this baby, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to blind anyone, doing this baby either direction will move a single stamped piece of metal, which will inexorably forward this, always feeding power into the mainspring. It's a beautiful idea, and it has so few moving parts, but it is tall. It adds height. So this uses the Swiss system, or what I think it was, the Swiss system, the European system, or whatever, in that it has this section. This is actually, in many ways, this is a lot like the 5126s. Use the same thing. You got a separate bridge. This is the automatic winding bridge. Look at the size of the jewels in this thing. And it's got a nice big balance. Yeah, look, I mean, the mainspring arbor is jeweled. Seiko did a lot of stuff with this. So anyway, they were making it in the early 60s through, mid-late 60s. What's the dates on these? 65. December 65. January 67. November 65. And then, well, let's see. We got 2 more to check. Okay, June 65. And ooh, that's a nice Kate. Look at that number. I don't know why I like that. Anyway, July 67. July 67. Okay. So anyway, it's a lovely, hang on a second. It's a lovely flat movement. They hand winding. So you can really, they're efficient. They're beautifully jeweled. They're not fast. They're a slow chugger, but they make up for that with positional stability, thanks to the nice big heavy balance, and the beautiful, beautiful jeweling. Diafix, multiple diafix settings, side by side wheels, lower mainspring arbor. It's a beautiful movement. They're beautiful, beautiful watches. So the one that I keep thinking that it's time for me to add one of these to my box that I can wear, and this is the one I've been holding. This is original. It's unrestored. It's got these beautiful slab sides. Solid stainless oval link bracelet. 83468030. So again, hand winding, and this has that great layout where they split the dates. That it's like that week dater, self dater format. Not loomed, of course, because it's JDM. I don't know why they didn't want you to see in the dark, but they didn't. Just a beautiful thing. Oh, look at that. And that's always nice to see. This was early enough that the bracelet folds didn't yet say all the regular Seiko verbiage. It's this like split marker. It looks like a weird H. That's the early mark. I really need to restore this one and wear it. Isn't that cool? Okay. Anyway, they're great. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool. I like them a lot. The very last job I have is a custom job from Stephen Moore in the Isle of Man where he, acting on some idle thought of mine, sent me materials enough to potentially build him a 6105 diver that doesn't have a movement, but with an 8300 movement. Because then you would have a hand winding, slim 6105. I mean, the biggest issue is that the dial feet will not click over, but in any case, so we'll be talking about that. Jeff 117. I get why you're anxious by getting to the end of your work orders. I have a hard time even going online. Like, I never go to forums anymore. Never. I have multiple Reddit subreddits. Seiko, Japanese watches are both mine. And I don't go to them either. Every time I go, people are like, dude, can you work on my watch? Dude, can you work on my watch? And I understand, man, you want to find somebody to work on your watch. I totally get it. There's too many. I woke up yesterday to 41 emails. I have 6 messages on Instagram. I have 9 message requests. I don't even look at the message requests on Facebook anymore. There's so many of them, I can't do anything about it. We have 4 different email addresses. I got to cut that down some. The YouTube comments, people ask me about things. So it's tough, for me, because I'm going to have to be in the position where I can't just say, hey, I'm not taking any work anymore. I'm going to have to deal with this picking and choosing stuff and blah. Anyway. I've said it before, but I wish I could have been your apprentice 10, 15, 20 years ago. 20 years ago, dude. I was a mid-level corporate manager person for FedEx. You wouldn't have wanted to come and work for me. Heck no. 20 years ago I wasn't doing anything. 10 years ago, maybe, but even then I've learned so much in the years since then. Still learning. If you had a time machine. Again, I don't necessarily want to say this because it's your knowledge and craftsmanship are second to none. As you call yourself a hobbyist, I really do feel I am a hobbyist, and there's so much more that I need to know. I enjoy your videos of watch repairs. I'm glad. I've learned quite a bit by watching. The 7As are something I never want to tackle, as electronics and me never got along well. Please don't sell yourself short. What do you want, man? I'm me. So there's always room to grow. Your talent, meticulous attention to detail or quality, if I adhere to them. Yes. Got to adhere to them. Because I've pulled some good ones in my day. Not deliberately, but I hope to one day be where you are. Man, get a whole bunch of junk watch movements. Start going, and I'm sure you're already doing that. This is a comment about my garage. The old pine wood wall looks stunning. I'm glad it's coming along. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Except, before I put it up, I should have put a vapor barrier behind it, plastic sheeting, which I didn't do. And rather than pull all the wood off the wall to put it up, I'm now having to individually caulk each gap. Whatever. It'll be done. Eventually you will get it finished. That's true. My MG as well. The thing with the 7As, because you talked about working on the 7As, the thing with the 7As is that generally they are primarily, I think of them primarily more as a mechanical watch, because they have, again, 4 separate trains, 15 joules. They're very heavily built metal. The only plastic they have is the circuit. These circuits typically are gonna be kind of like light bulbs. They'll work until they don't. And if they don't work, typically it's because of physical damage. You'll have damage to the leads, to the contacts from like battery acid, or something like that, and that can, or something that'll jack up the CMOS. Then you've got problems. But I wouldn't worry too much about the electronics. People get sort of caught up in the idea that it's a battery-powered quartz watch. If the circuit's good, you just take it off and put it to one side. And then you're dealing with the movement itself. The biggest challenge with a 7A is it's got the upper chrono bridge, and then it's got the lower train bridge, and then it has a bridge for the 1/10 hand, and it has a bridge for the time running, and it has another little bridge for the 12-hour counter. That train bridge, the one below the chronograph bridge, that has 7 pinions in it, and to get some of the pinions to drop in, you're looking through tiny little windows in between different other wheels that you're trying to get to the point so you can get all these incredibly fine pinions, like, stepper motor pinions are thinner than a human hair, and they're really easy to break. Ask me how I know. It just takes time. You have to be very slow and very meticulous, and just make sure to not try to finalize anything until you're sure that you're ready to finalize. It just takes time. They're more intimidating than they actually are. So, yeah, they're intimidating. I'm not going to downplay it and say that they're an easy, quick fix, because they're not. But they're not deadly. Time. Slow time. Take your time. Take lots of pictures. Oh yeah, the wood. My beautiful wood. I'll talk about it later. Saul Brook. Hello, Mr. Brook. Saul, have you found any more information for me? You're the guy who loves orange watches. I know you've probably never owned one of these, but you're also the research dude. So you keep records of everything. You have, I'm assuming, you not only have everything that Jonathan ever said, you have everything that any other expert would have said. So I'm hoping you're going to dig something up for me. Saulbrook, Saturday morning, hot coffee, hearty bowl of Scottish oatmeal, 6309 massively restored fried KVW. I swear I'm not picking these to burnish my own image. But thank you, I appreciate that. And mail call, what could be better? I'm glad that we've got a Saturday morning thing going on there, Saul. That's great. My Saturday morning tomorrow is going to be... It's going to be busy. Oh, the kids got their second booster, their second shot for COVID today. So 2 little ones we're pretty much safe. We were going to be doing that tomorrow, but we did it today. Okay, regarding 7S movement durability. So this is like the SKX 007 movement. 7S26, 7S36, that kind of thing. I liken the 7S and its forebears as the Colt 911 of the watch world. Simple, efficient, operational design, purpose-built, durable, slightly loose tolerances, and it will benefit from proper care, but can be abused to hell and back and still do its job. Whether that is to tell you accurate time enough or to destroy anything you aim it at within a reasonable distance. Yeah, it's not a bad comparison. I own a World War II Colt 911 in almost perfect condition. It came out of a long-time collector. It has everything with it. It's even one of the rare early ones that has where the slide is still serial numbered and it matches the frame. That stopped in very early 1943, but I have one of those. So it's like, mine's all matching. It's a cool gun. I'm not much for firing any of that kind of stuff, but I have no doubts whatsoever it would perform flawlessly. I saw a video like a year and something ago. Some guy found a 1911 like buried in the ground, or no, wait, I think he found it magnet fishing. He pulled it out of a river, and they were able to. The guy took it. This is like, on the level of like redneck engineering stuff. They took the thing, they dumped this gun completely. It looked like a rusted block of black mud, and they put it in hand cleaned it. Then they put it in a bath of 75% gasoline, 25% diesel, and he left it for like a week. And what that does is it sort of, it helps. He was able to clean it up enough with some electrolysis, reversal stuff, reversed some more corrosion, got it apart, cleaned as much as he could, put it back together, and it looked like a piece of burnt firewood, but he put like 4 full magazines through it. The slide stuck back a lot, but he fired that heap of garbage, and it worked. I can't believe it. But so knowing that the one that we have here, I don't think it'd be a problem. But I don't like loud noises or explosions anywhere near my hands or face, and also my hearing is not great. So my days of gun firing are probably over. I hope. Let's see. But the 7S is, I mean, because the 7S isn't just the 7S. The 7S was, at that point, the culmination of decades of design, starting with the 7005s. And they continued on all the time. I mean, balance issues aside, with the 7S B and C movements and into the 4R and CR, because of the way they changed how the stud is held and some other stuff. If those the issue with those movements, the 4Rs and the 6Rs, the C-type balance issues, as I called them, or in every case when I've serviced one of those, it's not the R&D, it's not the execution, it's not the engineering, it's the QC. Every case I went in and there were lubrication problems. My understanding is that Seiko probably auto-lubricates those things. They have a machine to do it. And I think that they're making a movement a second. Or is a movement a minute? I mean, they're making a ton of watches. Some of them are screwed up. But once serviced, even a latter day C variant 4R, 6R, no problems. You service those, they're good. And that tells me the base movement is great. Tom N. I second Mr. Brooks' sentiment regarding mail call and coffee on a Saturday morning. I wish I had some more coffee right now. I don't even remember if I drank my coffee. Your mention of restoring Landeron movements for new watches reminded me of a company I'd heard about that's done just that. Cuervo y Sobrinos. They're quite nicely done with a Latin flair. I will absolutely look that up. I mean, it's not a super amazing idea. I wasn't any genius for coming up with it, but I'm glad that someone's doing it. That's awesome. By the way, my old friend, the watch we talked about last time, is a 7828 7049, not a 7838. Sorry for the typo. 6 1/2 dozen the other. Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. I will look up those watches. Yeah, my favorite Landeron is... Where is it? Do I even have it out here? Or did I leave it up? Where the heck is it? Oh gosh, I think maybe I took it upstairs. I don't know where it is. My beautiful Landeron. My Ulrich. I wanted that one specifically because it had the Landeron 248. It had a more modern style case with sealed buttons versus the really old style, which is the case is basically open. There's no seals on it at all. And that it also had a diver bezel and was complete. Everything was made of stainless steel. And that's what that was. Okay. Leonidas Lance. Spencer. Leonidas. I have a Seiko King Turtle and really like it, but from out of the box it is consistently 20 seconds slow per day. I know this is within Seiko's generously large margin of error for their 4R36 movements, but what is your opinion? Is it worth getting corrected? Also, what is your opinion about this watch? Thanks, and I really dig your channel. Well, thank you, Leonidas. I appreciate that. The number that matters, the only number that really matters, in my opinion, is the amplitude. Until we know the amplitude, we can't say anything else about the watch because we don't know how it's running. So it's like if your car's running badly, for whatever reason, you're going to have to start doing tests before you do adjusting. You have to check the O2 sensor, and you have to look at your mixtures and all that other kind of stuff. And so you got to understand what we're looking at. So that's the first thing we need to do. Time graphers are not terribly expensive. They used to be. But like that basic time grapher there, that thing has served me very, very well for easily 10 years. There's some old school people that are like, oh, you got to get the one with all the bells and whistles. Yeah, I would probably get more information, and maybe I would do a better job if I had a more in-depth machine. But I have really found that by the numbers that thing gives are fine. They're usable. If you understand the limitations of the tool, the things it's telling you are the things you really truly need to know. It's telling you amplitude. It shows you and tells you beat error. You can see the cleanliness or lack thereof of the signal as it's running. I don't know what your money situation is, but if you have, if you want to invest a couple $100, you can get one of these things. You look at the numbers and it will tell you everything you need to know. You don't even need to open the box. You don't even need to open the watch. It'll tell you everything you need to know. My bet, based on all of these other ones I've ever seen, is you're going to see about 0.3 to 0.5 beat error. And you're going to see you're going to see lower amplitude, maybe in the 230s, 240s, and you'll see that you're not flat accuracy, that you are apparently losing time 20 seconds a day. So the first thing is to find out what the numbers say, because then you can make an educated decision. You can say, well, because your amplitude's great. If you put it on there and your amplitude's blasting along, 275, 280, and clean signal, then you're fine. You don't have to do anything. You would just need to adjust, though you have to be careful with that C-type balance. You would just adjust it. But if you look at it and my guess is correct, and you've got low amplitude and beat error, then you're probably in a situation where to really get the best out of it, you need to service it. But if my guess on the numbers is right, that kind of beat error and that stuff, you could adjust it and maybe you get more oomph out of it. So, I don't know. First thing is to find out the amplitude. What do I think of the Seiko King Turtle? I haven't thought too much about them. I really don't think too much about modern Seiko. So people ask me that, and I don't think I'm being a snob about it. It's just my personal preference, and my professional focus is on vintage watches versus new ones. I don't know. It's just I'm sure I've seen pictures of it. It didn't really grab me in any particular way, but I'm not someone to look at to be a weather vane for the direction of Seiko's thinking. I look at the old stuff. Okay, speaking of the Landeron 248s, CMB been wearing a Landeron 248 Lator diver, Lator, Later diver this week, as I fitted a vintage razor wire bracelet. Wow, a vintage one. Those are hard to find. I agree. Lovely movements. Case is similar to a 62 MAS. Yeah, mine is too. The Ulrich is like that. Another subject talking about that solar silver wave. The MT920 capacitors without tabs are used in Casios primarily. Good to see the solar Seiko working. Yeah, it's working. I have to go back in and look at the ribbon connector between for the forefront function buttons, because they're not talking to the rest of the watch at all. So I need to go back in and look at those connections. But it's working and it's charging. It's doing fine. J. Co. Hey Spencer, what is the green band you had on that poor man's 62 MAS? Let's talk about it, because it surprised me.
That green strap and even I'm amazed, honestly, I really am, because of what this is from. This is one of the SNK 80 blank ones. This is the standard strap that came on those cases. They came in a few different colors. There was a tan, and of course there was black. And here is the complete example of a running but dirty SNK 809, the classic. This one, I think I have the box and everything for it. And there's the strap. The reason I'm amazed is that I never liked the look of these, the straps. I always, for some reason, I just didn't think about them. And then I needed the strap, and I had this one, and I picked it up, and I was like, wait a minute, that feels really good. It's like not stiff and grindy. It's beautifully finished. It's flexible. It's soft. These straps, they work really well. I don't like the look of the leather, so I can just flip it over and you can just wear it that way. And it looks without that strip there, it looks classy. And the Seiko did a nice job on these. I should have looked at these earlier. Yes, I should have. These are cool. I should service this one. What's it have? Is A, B, or C? B. Okay. Yeah, but it's got an A balance. I must have gone into this at some point. I'll have to check my records. That's a cool watch. I predict those might actually do start coming up in value, maybe. I tell you, the bead blasted case is great. Display back. But this strap really is kind of a wonder. My only drawback, I don't like this metal hardware. If it had just cloth hardware or even a leather and the metal buckle, I think that would be another huge, gigantic improvement. And these would be really usable for lots of people. Good colors, though.
Max Guzman. Hey there, Mr. Klein. Hello, Mr. Guzman. Bought an old junk lot from eBay. I don't really let myself go on eBay anymore. To my surprise, there was a gold 0624 5009 lemon drop. Pretty complete from what I could tell. Popped the battery hatch open. New battery, not much life. It had many segments missing, and after a bit it would just die. Decided to take it apart. What a nightmare. Cleaned all the contacts with IPA and got it back together. India Pale Ale? That can't be what you mean. I mean, what do I know? All the segments came back, but only for a few seconds. Left it alone overnight with a battery in, and in the morning it came back to life. I was so excited, even the light worked. I wonder why that is. Did the circuit have to warm up or something? My question is, there is a gasket between the case and case back that totally crumbled when I took the watch apart. Would you happen to have any spares I could buy from you? The seal, the gasket on that watch crumbled. Really? Was it black? Because Seiko made those out of Viton, and they're darn near indestructible. I'm certain I have a few. Send me an email. They'll be used, but I don't believe I have new. I'll have to look at the part number. I'd be shocked if I didn't have one that worked. Yeah, it's a big. The gasket goes in there. It has an unusual cross section. It's a lot thicker than a normal seal, because that's one of those clamshell cases where you have the movement and everything sits inside the sort of bowl-like back, and then you sort of snap the front of the watch over the top of it. And that gasket is basically what seals the whole thing together. Once you go and it snaps together, that's what does it. I'll look, but send me an email because otherwise I'll forget. kvw@kleinvintagewatchrepair.com. Bruce Barlow. Hi, Spencer. Take a break from the watch world anxiety and get down under to New Zealand. We have plenty of rocks and fossils down here for you to explore. Love to. Yeah, talking about hand-winding chronographs, what do you think about the Seagull 1963 Pilot reissue? They seem to be a pretty good deal for $200. Keep well. Yeah, I've looked at those for years. I never bought one because they were relatively small, and in those days, that was back in the whole, like, everybody's wearing a boat anchor watch, and my own preference for size in those days was 40 to 43. Now, these days, I happily wear 36 to 39 to 40. And unless I'm wearing a diver, I don't really go much bigger than that. I think they're pretty cool. I'd like to see one in person. The quality on a lot of these movements has been pretty good. I remember when they first came out, those Seagulls, someone, and I can't remember who, got a brand new one and ripped it down to pieces and looked at it and compared it to the original movement upon which it was based. And if I remember correctly, the reviewer was pleasantly surprised at the quality of the movement in terms of manufacturing as well as assembly. I don't know. I'd like to see one. I would really like to see one in person. It hasn't been a priority, but if somebody has one and they don't wear it, I'd love to be able to see it. Maybe I can trade you for it if I have something here that you were looking at. So if you have a Seagull Seagull's 1963 Pilot reissue, yeah, let me know. Mechanical chronograph. Steve Gavin. Hi, Spencer. Being a fan of dive watches, like yourself, I find wearing them above the wrist bone a bit strange and prefer on or below and find this more practical. How do you wear your chunky watches? My biggest consideration is not feeling constricted. So my watches, I tend to wear them a little loose. I wouldn't call this one chunky. So, but it's pretty heavy. I like it so that I like all my watches basically right here. My wrist bone is right here. So it's pretty much right on top of it. And I like, this is ever so slightly tighter than I would normally like. I like to be able to take it so I can move it back and forth like this. I hate that feeling of my wrist being squeezed. I just don't like it. I used to wear my watches with a bit more flop, but I've tightened it up some. And that's typically how I wear it. If I put on my beloved watch here, take off the Explorer. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing the Explorer in part to give some titillation to Mr. Saul Brook, who loves this watch. Hey, Saul, what do you think? Do you like it this is the Oyster from my 000, 1987. What do you think? Like it? I think it looks pretty good. Okay, let's put this on. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to put this down, then you go like that, then you pull, and you go there. No, that's too loose. Let's go one more. And move this back here. Now, even that's a little too tight. It's constricting me too much. So, let's go back one. Yeah, that's what I like. I wish there was a hole in between these two, but I can move it a little bit, but it won't flop. So that's basically how I wear. It's a nice watch. Look at that. Look at that thing, especially with the green. I got this whole like pumpkin thing going on. SK. Hey, I'm also an SK. Hi, Spencer. Not sure if you're checking the comments. Absolutely. I read every single one. Every single comment on my video channel, I read all of them. I have a question. I just bought this watch in nice condition. Okay. This is a question about a 6309 diver. Okay, cushion case diver. Or, well, not like this, but like a 7548. Same crown. I have a question. I just bought this watch, 6309 diver, with nice condition, and what I find out when screwing back the crown and tighten, not too crazy, the crown still wants to turn more. You need to screw with more power, but it will go over the stop point. Always the same. Screwing it out without any obstruction, to be honest. Is this normal or it's something faulty? Okay. It'd probably be easier if I just showed you.
Okay, 6309 crowns. They were used on a few different models, including a Pulsar. But this is 7548. There's that crown. It locks down just like so. Same as every other 6309 diver like this. There it is. You can see the threading. So you have threading in the case here, and it threads into the crown. But the way these crowns are made is they have, like, these inside parts are actually, they're relatively thin. The screw down part is a metal ring that is friction fitted inside the crown. There's nothing actually physically keeping it there. It's just it's held in by friction. For reference, there is a complete stem section, and here, for your reference, that is the toothed ring that's inside this thing to hold in place. If this wears out, they'll start to turn. So what's happening to you is, what's happening when you do that is the crown bottoms out. So the crown bottoms out, and the outer crown, the inner crown stops because it's threaded all the way down. But then this outer sheet metal part, stamp part, that can just keep going. It doesn't happen often, but that's it. The way to cure it, the easiest way to do it is, if you just want to be quick and dirty about it, is you just crimp like 1, 2, 3, 4. When I do them, I get my staking set out with a really fine point needle punch, and I punch it just a tiny dot, just 3 or 4 times around. And what that does is, and it doesn't have to be a lot, because the sort of the coinage on the outside of that, the coinage on the outside of this piece just needs a little bit of encouragement to grip again. And that's how you do it.
And that's it. So anyway, keep checking the website. It's not like we're going to be putting up a bunch of stuff for sale every single day. We're very busy, and Sabrina does it as she has time. She did also figure out how to set up our Instagram store so that I can, in theory, have quick sales of items or sell things directly through Instagram. So that's something else to think of. I'm just not consistent on this stuff. It's just, consistency that's a hard ask for me. I do my best to be consistent, but it depends on the day and how my brain is doing. So if you're looking for something, write me and ask. If I have a watch and you're interested in it, we maybe could sell it. If you're looking for something pretty complicated, or a project like, I had a gentleman who wanted me to basically build a custom example of a watch model to an extremely high standard using parts. It's not worth it. It's just, one, it would be a huge amount of time, and 2, it's easier just to buy a better, to find the right watch in the right condition and buy that. Building a watch from parts, that's something you do for fun. Otherwise, you're dumping a ton of money into it. But anyway, some watches are going to go up. 7548. I don't know, though, man. I'm never going to be able to replace this watch. I just don't wear it. My beautiful 6309 7290 with this beautiful faded bezel. Look at the blue. I just don't wear it. Man, though, I put a lot of work into this watch. I don't know. Anyway, there's going to be more stuff on the website. Other than that, I got to go up in the attic now. I got to get out the Christmas tree. My darling children have demanded that I do so. So, Oh, one other thing I forgot. Saul Brook, I sent you that Lord Huron song. Now, I know you say you don't really dig too much new music, but man, Lord Huron, it is super cool, and it's really great through high fidelity stuff. Maybe it's fitting for us out here, because it's this, for all of you who don't know, Lord Huron is, it's like if you had 50s style country music, like old school country music, and then your songwriter had a lot of thoughts and feelings about kind of like X-Files spooky stuff. So it's like, it's cowboy music, but it's kind of lush and it's beautifully done. And almost all the songs are like love and revenge, revenge from beyond the grave, ghosts, the undead, frozen pines and wastelands and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of spooky and it fits out here. It fits out here. And because I'm from here, it has that kind of Western feel. But for you, Saul, for me too, I think about this as, the many Jewish cowboys that are out running, or that were out running about the day. Estimates are there were 3,000 or more Jewish cowboys back in the Old West. So consider yourself in their shoes and maybe listen to that song I sent you. And if you don't like it, that's great. I love it. And I'm a big fan. So, that's it. Yeah, the Strange Trails album especially is like, I still haven't read the lyrics because I'm just trying to puzzle it out, but it's just, I don't know, spooky, midnight, voices on the wind, between this world and that world. I don't know, it's just cool stuff. I love it. Anyway, folks, that's it. This was a particularly rambling video, and if you made it all the way to the end after having watched all this stuff, my hat is off to you. And we are going to close out with a quick look at a photograph that I didn't know existed until like 2 days ago. I had a band in college. It was like rockabilly. We played parties. It was like frat rock or whatever you want to call it, Louie Louie and stuff like that. Plus a lot of sort of punky covers of really early, like Louis Jordan hits and stuff. We had a lot of fun. Those days, there were no digital cameras. And so it's rare to have sort of casual photographs. I didn't have a single photograph of my band playing, ever. None. But the mother of a good friend of mine who kind of acted like our bouncer, he got paid in beer, he took a picture, or she took a picture of us, and then she's not doing too well, and so she's moving out of that house, and she's going through and sorting everything. She found this picture, and she, thankfully, I always liked his mom, Kenny's mom. She was really nice. She was a very nice lady to me. Anyway, took a picture. She put it on the dining room table. Took a picture of it. Emailed the picture to Kenny. Kenny sent it to me. It's the only picture I've ever seen of me playing with my band. I believe this is practice, and this would have been like summer 1988. But there I am in the back with my Ibanez Blazer 2 bass, long gone. But anyway, here's that photograph. Enjoy it.